What's 120 frames per second and free to play? Let's talk about it. Well, it has been a whirlwind of emotions today. Microsoft is rumored to be buying TikTok. They killed a bunch of Cortana stuff, and Halo is just coming out swinging for the fences. The Halo team tossed up this tweet today. It says, "We can confirm Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and will support 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series X. More details to come and will be shared later," if I could read that correctly. Anyways, I want to just kind of talk about this for a second because if you remember last week or whatever, I put up a sweet rumor that said, hey, multiplayer might not be shipping with the game initially. Now, things are starting to kind of come into place, and I think this tweet might be sort of key to what I was hearing and some of the disconnect of what is going on. Based on this tweet, I think it's pretty fair to say it sounds like because it's free to play, multiplayer is going to be a separate game from single player or the campaign. At least that is the way I interpret it. Now, the logical conclusion is here is like, hey, maybe this is going to be a battle royale. I don't know if it is a battle royale. Bungie previously said, or 343 previously said they were not including a battle royale. The only BR in the game was the battle rifle. And so it's going to be interesting to see what the approach here the Halo team takes. The one thing that's really saucy, if you will, is 120 frames per second on the Xbox Series S is going to be it's going to be great. It's going to give really silky smooth experience. It's going to make multiplayer really, really cool. And it's definitely pushing the boundaries of what is capable on the Xbox Series X. Now, granted, this could be some of the reason why some of the graphics were a little bit toned down, if you will, if your reason why some of our friends from the trailer were not looking super pretty. But if that was the trade-off to go to 120 frames per second, it's an interesting sort of balance here that Microsoft, or I should say 343, is taking. But this is pretty big news that it's free to play, which I hope it's not like loot boxed to death or something like that. That would be absolutely atrocious. I'm perfectly okay with the approach that Warzone is taking, and that has seemed to be what everyone else in the Twitter sphere seems to be thinking. It's more like cosmetic transactions, horns and stuff like that for your vehicles. Perfectly okay with that as long as it's not loot boxed. I really am not a fan of loot boxes. They've ruined a lot of games, and I don't want Halo to do this too. So based on this tweet, and granted, I will fully admit there's not much here. We do know that it's 120 frames per second. Looks like it's going to be, leading the pack in terms of smoothness and everything else on the Xbox Series X. Is it a separate title? That is a very good question right now. And I think the answer is yes. And then you'll pay for the campaign. Or if you have Game Pass, obviously you can just go play that for free, quote unquote free through Game Pass. So there you go. Interesting little tidbits here for a late Friday afternoon news drop from the Halo team. That is the latest information on Halo. And we'll catch all of you right back here next time, as long as you subscribe.